Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, Danvers. This is Mark Zuberek reporting for the topics of the town news, and this is the October 3rd, 2024 presentation. Welcome to our report. The show must go on. That is the point of everything that we do. I am Mark Zuberek, your host, and I have Tony Betancourt, our resident commentator.
There we go.
That's what I wanted to get across. And he has been a good compliment to me because I get carried away, and Tony has got to bring me back.
You've done a good job. You really.
Well, today what I like to do is, first of all, report that the show itself and us as commentators and hosts have received a DCAT Most Dedicated presentation or a trophy for 2024. So thank you, DCAT, for having us on and supporting all our efforts, because we try hard, but it does take time. So welcome aboard, and the agenda and opinions are solely by the topics of the town hosts, our guests, contributors, and commentators. Now, first of all, everybody asks me the question, what are the turkeys doing on top of this table? Well, the turkeys have been a fixture for this show for about 5 years.
Yeah, quite a few years.
And I even had them painted, and that has turned out to be a good representation of our town Board of Selectmen. Now, if you notice, you have to check on which one is which, but there's one on here with lipstick on.
There it is, right here.
So does that tell you something? It's Maureen. So, welcome to the Board of Selectmen. You are the turkeys for the week and for the month. So, today's quote, as I have all the time, and I'm trying to be a little philosophical and not to be too critical of what's going on, but my quotes this last two shows have included this one: always be yourself, express yourself, have faith in yourself, believe in yourself. That is a understanding of your personal presentation of your views, and what we need to do is the second part of the quote: inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, do not sit home and think about it. Go out and get busy. Tony, this is a reflection of what I've been saying for months now, years. People are afraid to express their views.
There's no question about it. I agree with that. I really agree with that.
And our views are very important because we are the fabric of the town, the culture, the interests of the town. We are a bedroom community, no question about it, but we do have some specific traits that we should be encouraging.
And people have to get involved, and have to get involved early, because the reason being it's too late when everything's done, and then they start complaining they want to do something about it. It's too late then. That's why you have to, like you said, you got to get up early and pay attention, see what's going on, and get it done early.
Tony, one of the things that I just reflected in my own mind is your comments are what John Toomey has been expressing for
It's true,
probably
yeah.
30 years
You're right.
on
It's
this
true.
show.
Yes, exactly.
And we've had different hosts and commentators on, and John was one of the first that made
You call him
those
the Godfather, and he is.
He is the Godfather.
Exactly.
So, the complement to this these quotes is Owen. If we can throw out my Gore Vidal quote, our style may be different, but my style, no, that's not what we want. There you go. Our style is knowing who you are, what you want to say, and not giving a damn. We own what we say. So the thing is that we have to express ourselves and not be afraid of the consequences, because
that's the thing.
that is your personal view of what we are up to. So I just want to read a small paragraph in regard to that quote. Vidal never ran out of opinions, filing 200 essays, 25 novels, and 2 memoirs when he wasn't fine-tuning the scripts or trading quips with Johnny Carson.
Okay.
Remember Johnny Carson?
Oh, yes.
That was a refreshing show.
Yes.
To Vidal, style entailed all the ways people project themselves onto the world, imbuing them with confidence. So we need to be expressing our views and not be afraid of what the consequences are. So when we turn social media to communicate with our friends, family, ultimately our constituents who elect you, we have problem. Einstein was correct. So we have our standard Albert Einstein. I fear the day that technology will surpass our human interaction. The world will have a generation of idiots. And he was so right, and he was a genius. So what we'll do is I want to today go through some local town hall news,
Yes.
because it is something that's very important to us. We have some major changes coming up, and what I noticed is there was a article in the old Salem News.
There's not much of a paper anymore.
And you know what? I even went out and spent $3 for the paper.
$3? Wow. Okay.
$3.
How'd you say
And I
$2?
think the whole front section is 8 pages long.
Wow.
So it's mostly advertising, but
Yes.
we had an article here in regards to Steve Bartha leaves big pair of shoes for next manager. Well, the shoes can be filled by many people, and one of the things that I like to do is just express my views, or the show's views, because 10 years ago, when Steve Bartha came on the scene, he was acclaimed to be the next Wayne Marquis, and at that time, I invited Steve to the show twice, and we had a discussion in regard to what the needs and wants of the town are and how he can fulfill them. But what I first want to express is the select boards in our town. They are active and they do their own thing. Steve didn't realize that he was not elected. He was appointed by the Board of Selectmen. And he tried to be a real leader of the town, but he forgot the fact that elections take place every year, and he is not on the ballot.
Right.
He is an employee of this town. So,
And we have to pay attention to our selectmen also, because the reason being you need a 3-2 vote for a majority for anything to happen. Basically, if you don't have the 3-2 vote, you're not going anywhere, and with anything. That's what's sad about it. So that's what drives. That's what they're supposed to drive the town manager, and I don't know. I think the town manager drove them, if you ask me.
Absolutely, and it was not his fault.
Right.
The selectmen basically let the town manager down. One of the comments that I've been receiving is public comments at these selectmen's meetings. There is no resolution. You can make your comment, but there's no action to follow. Public actions regarding members of the board. The select board, in their own wisdom, has sometimes faltered in supporting their own members because it's a unit of 5 people. It's not a single individual that runs this town. And the thing is that the Board of Selectmen have to realize that they're only 1 out of 5. The public actions regarding residents and investors. And I'm going back to last show that we had, and we had a very unique situation where the Board of Selectmen, in their wisdom, became extortionists of funds from a developer, and the trash field was another one that was let off the hook. The town manager took action, and after the fact, the Board of Selectmen supported him after.
Right, and that was another problem right there. I mean, look, right now I'm hoping we have an election. We have different selectmen in town. I'm hoping that we can get on the right path and put this town back where it should be. That's my honest opinion.
And that's where I think we need to go. Public action regarding other boards. There's a conflict where the Board of Selectmen, who are elected, have to influence in some fashion of what this town is all about. The planning board needs to talk to the Board of Selectmen because the planning board is appointed by the town manager.
I know that's...
And not elected like the Board of Selectmen, who reflect the culture and quality of life that we enjoy in our town.
I agree with that. And I'm hoping that if we get a new town manager that, I don't know, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the people on the board now and stuff like that, but we have to go in a different direction. I don't know if there was too much influence going there or not. You see that monstrosity downtown. I mean, really. I mean, that's not what we voted for. That's what's sad. That's not what we voted for, okay? We didn't vote for a building that big. We didn't vote for 4 stories. We wanted a building to be attractive, 3 stories. That was okay to keep with our quality of life in Danvers. But that's not what we got. I don't know how we got there. I don't think anybody can answer it.
That we got there because of our established combined planning board, conservation board, and the town manager being in collusion in supporting the state dictate of our needs for housing. If the state needs housing, let them go and build it at the State House.
Yeah, well,
Fill the rooms in the State House.
they can't handle anything right now. They can't handle what they're doing. They take our money and they waste it foolishly. So how can you give them any more money to waste foolishly? It doesn't make any sense.
See, the issues that are coming up, and this article in the Salem News really brought out some of the issues that I want to talk about. But before we get to that, I want to address one special interest issue, which was brought to my attention by several phone calls, and it's in regard to Sandy Beach.
Okay.
Sandy Beach is a jewel
It's
in
a hidden
our
jewel. That is what it is exactly. Mark, I'm going to tell you something. There's a customer from Peabody, okay, that I had, Mr. Maria, okay. I don't know if he's alive still or not, or he passed away. He used to go there all the time swimming. He said he couldn't believe it, a hidden jewel that Danvers has. And he said that He used to go there. There was no one there. It was beautiful. Okay, that's why I don't know why we're not taking care of that beach. It's terrible. I mean, but we have no parking. I mean, we have to have more. I think we're putting too much into the rail trail and letting everything else go. I hate to say it, but I think that's what it is.
Well, we are letting other open space go fallow as well. But just to concentrate back on Sandy Beach, I have done my investigative reporting.
Okay.
I made some phone calls. I talked to the director of recreation, the director of land use and operations. David Mountain was very cooperative, very understanding of what has happened. And then Aaron Henry chimed in because he wanted to sort of squash down the information that I was able to get from David Mountain. David was very good. He's always been around. What I was told is that the Sandy Beach was not funded for operation for the last 3 or 4 years because, now they claim COVID at that time, but 3 or 4 years ago, that's different than it is currently. The beach was not funded in the recreation department because they need lifeguards and cleanup and things like that to make it operational.
Didn't they do a day camp there though too? They do the day camp this year, or
They did not.
Okay.
That's
Did
what
they do it at the park or something?
They do it at the Endicott Park now.
Okay, they don't, because they used to have a. If I'm not mistaken, I remember. I think my kids used to go down sometimes with other kids there.
Those
park
are
program.
years
Oh,
ago.
see, I know.
But that's what I was able to find
Okay.
out.
No,
And the thing is, I don't know the operation of who actually closed the beach, but I understand that if there's no funding, that beach is not going to operate. However, now they're introducing the fact that the health department has been involved, and I understand that that happens every year
Awesome.
on bacteria count and all
Okay.
that. But now the town itself is telling me that the Sandy Beach was closed because of a contamination. Now, I had a comment made that we just purchased and or operate or fund a boat that drains out the sewage from
Yes,
some
pump.
of
They
these
call it a
large-
pump out boat. I did hear about that. They got a grant for that. I'm pretty sure the grant's over now, though, right?
Well, the thing is that every grant that we get
Yes.
has to be funded by our real estate taxes because ultimately it runs out. Somebody's got to pay
So
for
they
it.
add something, they use it for a while, just like got 4 firefighters coming in, and there's a grant on that. But when they're gone, we got to pay for the four firefighters.
Well, I just want to
I know, I'm just explaining, but that's the reason being. So something's not going right here. We have to watch what we get for grants and what strings are attached to it, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, the thing is that we have these wonderful open space areas. We have the Sandy Beach. We have Pope's Landing. That needs to be kept open and operational for our residents because that's our access to the river and to the ocean that flows.
And if you remember, they were having a problem too. They didn't want people parking there for a while. It was a mess. Do you
Right.
remember that?
Yeah.
That was crazy too. I mean, why? So if you want to go down and sit with lunch here, they didn't want you. They want to leave it open for boats. Didn't make any sense.
Well,
And a lot of things don't make sense. That's why I hopefully this town can turn around and get on the right track. That's
well,
my
I
message.
just want to make sure that my investigative reporting reports properly. But I think this deserves further study, and it deserves to be funded by the town because I don't believe recreation would have withheld the funding. This came from the White House,
Well, we know
from
that.
the budget.
So we're hoping that we're going to get a new White House and we can put the new White House in the right perspectives and do the right things for us.
Okay, staffing and contamination and the boat waste collection pump-out boat
Okay.
are the issues that the marinas and Danvers Sandy Beach site is experiencing. We need to confirm that it's safe, and the contamination that's coming in from groundwater, that's got to be found and eliminated. So that's where we are on that.
But they've been having a problem for a long time. If I'm not mistaken, too, they even blamed the geese for a while there for
Yes.
contaminating it.
Yes.
Okay. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I swear to God, I think they tell us what we want to hear and what we don't want to hear. I mean, they have an excuse for something. Basically, what it comes down to. Instead of getting to the real investigation, find out what the problem is.
Well, what we want to do on this show is express those views, and if you want to call me at home, that's fine. I will go and make the phone calls. I don't want you, my audience, to be afraid of town hall. They are there to serve us because we paid their salaries.
Exactly.
And that's where we need to see if we are overtaxing ourselves. So that's
Feels
thought,
that way.
my thought for the day. So now if we go into the Salem Evening News article, this has been reported in the past. Town management resignations or retirements. Steve Bartha has been town manager now for over 10 years, or just about 10 years.
I believe that 10 years.
When accomplishments were mentioned in the Salem News article, the town manager had one regretful thing that he very nicely expressed in the article, but it was the thin blue line flag.
Oh, yeah.
And the thin blue line flag was a very explosive issue because he felt like he was elected and dictated what was going to happen,
That was a
and
mess.
he shut it down.
Yeah, that was a mess.
That was
To me, that was to show authority, too. That was terrible.
that showed too much authority.
Yes.
And the thing is that the town manager is not in that position. And what I like to do is I have put down some notes here, and I don't have them readily available,
Okay.
but I will. Oh, here they are.
Okay.
Big pair of shoes, yes. You have tried to fill big pair of shoes because Wayne Marquis, whether you like him or not, I had my disagreements with him, and I sat in his office for hours, but we always cared about what the town was all about and how it was led. Steve Bartha interviewed on this show 2 times, and it was very cooperative at that time. Wayne to Steve was a difficult transition because he had a large pair of shoes to fill.
No question about it.
Wayne was local, Steve was from Connecticut. Different culture. Thin blue line flag, and here we go. In August of 2020, this was 4 years ago.
Wow, okay.
And the thing is, I know perfectly well because I was one of the 5 that presented the issues, and we gathered the signatures for a special town meeting, 400 signatures in 1 week. Bartha ordered flags removed after consulting with chair of the Board of Selectmen. Now,
Who was the chair back then?
I don't remember.
remember either.
I don't want to put anybody down.
Yeah, I don't want to. I got to find
But
Bruce Trask.
the chair of the Board of Selectmen basically misled the town manager
Yes,
because the first thing out of his mouth should have been, relax a little bit, let's study this thing and not inflict wounds that you're not going to be able to repair. Those wounds are not repaired even to this
No, they're
date.
not. It's sad. And there was
Uh,
nothing wrong about it. That's the sad part.
well, the town manager at that time claimed that it was political speech.
Yeah, but what?
No, this was all around us.
Yes. No, no.
And the thing is that he reacted as the woke town manager for this town, and he, I think, understands now because of his comments in the article.
Okay.
Need enough time for fire department and police department and ambulance service would not consider resident requests. So the problem I saw at that time, and we went and bent over backwards to have the flag, and there are two kinds of flags
Yes, there is.
that were presented to them. One was the thin blue line
remember that.
flag,
Yes.
which the woke politicians in our town and in the city and state have adopted that as a political speech. There was another flag that was one solid flag
remember.
with a thin emblem on it.
You guys even offered to buy the 5 flags for him.
We did buy the
Yes.
flags, and we tried to present it to the Board of Selectmen. And I believe at that time, Dan Bennett was the chairman.
Okay.
And Dan Bennett made his mistakes at that time. And I got a feeling that this year, it's 2 down, 2 to go. And Dan Bennett is one of the two because he and David Mills are really at fault in regard to the thin blue line flag, because Dan Bennett did not allow this thing to go forward, and David Mills made a pitiful appeal to the public.
But if I'm not mistaken, I think they left it up to the town manager, didn't they? They don't think they took a vote on it, did they? I'm trying to remember. Didn't they leave it at the town manager? He had the power to do it, and they
Well,
stood behind him. if I'm not
He was going to set up this committee to authorize the use of different flags, and that never materialized. It turned out to be a woke agenda item that they were preying on, and David Mills made a big fool out of himself. But that's my position, and I stick to it.
Understood.
So, not to have people, this is another statement in the article, not to hire people based on skills, but hire people for fitness
I heard that.
and how they relate to the town.
Does that make any sense?
Come on, Steve.
Does that make any sense?
No, it doesn't. And the thing is that this was published. That is a fact of life, that you hire people for their best qualification
That's what we want in this town. We want it to run right.
and not for the fitness and how they fit into the Danvers culture.
Maybe they hope they can save on insurance, health insurance.
Oh, well,
I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry.
you know that I have made a case by requesting information from the finance director and from the town hall. How many people have been hired, fired, retired, or somehow removed over the 2 years during COVID, 22 and 21 and 22. And I got reports back, and they were very frank about the information, because it consisted of a mix. But 220 employees turned over in those 2 years.
I think there's a problem. There's definitely a problem here. Hopefully we can get this under control. We lost a lot of good people. That's the sad part. Really did.
And this
A lot of
was
experienced people, too.
this was brought up to the town management and to the Board of Selectmen, and they put a deaf ear to it. They didn't want to hear it. They asked some questions, but they didn't do anything about it. I hope everybody forgets the fact that not everything can be blamed on COVID. We are out of COVID for years now.
I got a funny feeling they're going to try to bring it back.
The town manager, in his wisdom, hired an organization, an organizational structure from outside without deliberating on consequences. Towny influence. This is my comment. The town manager wanted to rearrange the town hall, and he did that by eliminating some functions that were on their own, like the building inspector was on his own. The planning department was on their own.
It's totally
and
different now.
That's right, because everything was brought up to the land use and economic
Right.
development director, who was hired from the outside, and that's how they tried to run the town hall. That's part of the problem. They did not consider the consequences. Danvers' future. These are the comments that are coming back from the article. You know what? I went and spent $3 on this article, and well, Salem News finally reported something that it was planted by Town Hall.
Oh, really?
Because you cannot get an article into the newspaper without pleading your case.
It seems that way because they only want you to know what you want to know. That's about it. If they don't want us knowing everything.
Denver's future. Comments by Steve Bartha. Great shape for the near future. Unions have been satisfied. They're all settled. Now they're going to go into another rotation, but
How many years is it for the unions? Is it 2 or 3 years? Or?
some of them are 2, some of them are 3
Just
years.
curious, I'm not sure.
Schools in good shape. Well, I question that, but that's where Steve has been spending our real estate tax money very liberally on the schools because he has an interest in that, and money is not everything. It's the organization.
There's no question about it in my mind. Well, just stop and think. I mean, the town has changed quite a bit. Before, the organizations were different and everything else, but everything ran better. I mean, honestly, I think
That's
so.
right, because people had the heartfelt interest in what they were doing. Schools are overcrowded again. I mean, Smith School now accepts
Is it the
all
next one
of
now?
the illegal immigration. Now, when are we going to stop that? We had that issue on homeless at one time, and we
Took a lot to fight with that. Was when Spiliotis was around. He never really got it done. I think finally they got it. They pushed to
Right.
it. They finally got it done.
But what they got done is basically they got paid for each individual student. This time, the federal government is funding each individual student $105 a day. So now, Smith School was built for twice the number of students that they originally requested or required. And what they're doing now is they're filling those seats with illegal immigrants. So now they've destroyed Great Oak in the past because Great Oak has gone from a level 1 school down to a level 3 school because they had a lot of homeless.
Highlands had a problem too. They had a lot of kids in
That's
Highlands
right.
too.
Highlands was another one. And now we're destroying Smith School. And the thing is, who is accepting all of these students? Because the state is funding the illegal immigration, but they're also running out of money. So now what's going to happen is that we're going to get stuck with funding the schools.
It's a mess. It's a big mess. I'm telling you. Even today, I was watching the news. I can't believe it. I mean, God, with FEMA, FEMA, if there's another disaster, not going to have money for FEMA for our next storm. The reason being they took some money from the FEMA and gave it to the illegals to do stuff with that.
That's right.
I mean, it's ridiculous, man. I mean, come on. This is the United States of America. We got to take care of our people first.
Homeland Security is now the funding mechanism for illegal immigrants.
Same thing with Danvers. We got to take care of our Danvers residents first. I mean, come on. It's only common sense.
Yeah, but we ignore them and sweep everything under the rug.
It's not right.
Taxes, fees, trash fee, municipal light board fees, water and sewer fees, claims we're getting our money's worth. That's what Steve claims. I don't.
They're nickel and diming us to death. That's the best way to put it, okay?
Strategic Danvers plan is another thing that Steve is proud of. Now, that's not that was a grant that was given to the town, and they developed this Strategic Danvers plan, and I have not seen a copy of it. I don't think the Board of Selectmen have seen a copy of it because they didn't want to accept it a few months back. But now they've been convinced to accept it because if they don't accept it, the funds will dry out. But Resilient Danvers Energy Plan for Municipal Light Board increases use of solar energy. Now, today I had a very interesting discussion with the town engineer, Steve King.
Okay.
Steve King is an engineer's engineer, and I communicate with him on a regular basis. We understand each other.
He's a nice man.
But we have also developed the plan for the solar panels at the dump.
Okay.
Now, they're still going through a gyration of what to fill and what not to fill, and they're accepting waste fill, not necessarily contaminated, but it's acceptable according to the EPA.
Specs to bury.
That's right. So, what I was told today is that this project is funded by a loan that the town took out,
I think I have
a
4 million.
bond issue.
Was it 4 million?
No, it's 6.75
Okay, I'm off.
now
Okay.
because they got a additional 1.75 million to add to the original 4.5,
Okay.
or 1.25, I guess. And that is going to fund the operations of management, disposal, grading, and filling in the voids where they need to do. And that 6.75 million is to operate the management of this. But what they're planning to accept is $12.1 million worth of fill
Okay, I did hear
that
that.
the contractors are paying, and they're $30 per ton of fill.
Are we making money on this or are we losing money?
Well, listen. So what the plan is that we are going to make probably $4 to $6 million on it. The question I have is at what risk? What are the strings that are attached at the end? And I hope to, I did a documentary on that solar panel farm, because that was a good thing that needed to be done, but I think there's something suspect on it, and I'm going to get to it. But it's the plan for this is to make a profit of probably $6 million, which is great. But the thing is, at what risk? And whose business plan did we follow? The thing that it was sold as is that it's going to generate 4 megawatts of power from the solar panel arrays. I have not been able to get a copy of the business plan of what this thing is going to look like, how many panels it's going to consist of, how it's going to tie into the existing electric system. And the thing is that the Board of Selectmen are not asking for any of this.
Okay, I have one big question. David Lane wasn't involved in this, was he?
Yes, he was.
Oh, my God.
Well, you have to be very careful. David
I don't
Lane.
know. I'm not saying anything. I like David. I did, you know.
Well, David Lane resigned or retired before they fired him because of
That's what I'm trying to get at.
consequences of his
How do we know
operation.
there's no shenanigans here? That's
Well-
the problem.
This is the reason I was talking to my friend Steve King. He'll give you a straight answer, and I know that, and I'm going to continue that. But the 4
One more dumb-
megawatts,
Can I ask one more dumb question? Sorry. Is this being paid by electric light or town money?
town money.
Town money. Why town money?
Because the town money is where the profit from this operation is going to the town treasury.
Okay.
Oh, maybe you maybe that question has been raised, but it's probably going to be paid for by the municipal light board, which is the electric company,
Right. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
for the installation of the panels.
Okay.
So there's a mixture.
That's the
of,
point I'm getting at. Are we going to get another whopping bill from somewhere else?
well, the town hall already gets over $1 million in payment in lieu of
Yes, we know
taxes
that.
from the electric company,
Right.
which you and I pay for the bill.
Yes. And with all
So-
the fees they put in here and there, you know what I mean?
Now, the thing that wrapped up this article, and I'm going to look at we have 15 minutes.
Okay. I'm doing good then.
So the final comments in this article are the town manager wants to be involved or has plans of finding a replacement for the town manager. Now this is where Dan Bennett and his crew should be finding the replacement. Dan Bennett and the selectmen should be readying a interim town manager, because this effort of finding a new town manager is not a instantaneous
No, I
effort.
don't think so. We have to get the right one. We have to make sure.
Take 3 to 6 months, easy,
If not longer.
if not longer.
And then he's got to get into place and put all his people in place and find out what's going on. I mean, who knows what's going to happen?
The disturbing facts that I'm very concerned about is, yes, the town manager may initiate the town manager search for the new town manager, but that has to be done under the auspices of the Board of
Well,
Selectmen.
I'm assuming they just told him to start the process, not to do anything with it, right?
Well, Board of Selectmen are very, I hate to say it, they're very lazy because they don't want to do anything.
I know.
They want to have somebody do things for them, and that's where the town manager comes in. But the more important positions, town manager Steve Bartha is saying that he needs to appoint or hire a municipal light electric utility director. Now, that position has been held by David Lane and his predecessors in the DPW in the past. Now, are we talking about hiring a new individual, a new director? I thought the municipal light board was under the direction of the town manager because he is responsible for it. So this position should not be hired by the existing town
No, I
manager.
don't think so either.
It should be left to the new town manager, because right now we have adequate assistant electric division managers. Clint is a very good manager, and he should be left in charge until the new town manager comes in.
How about the water department? Did they lose someone in the water department?
Well, that's another one.
Okay.
Mr. Salufo
Okay.
was a director of the water department under the direction of the town manager again.
Okay.
That is a independent company, and he got himself in trouble by accepting bribes, and he has left very quietly.
Okay.
There was not even a word.
No firing?
No firing. Nobody ever gets fired in this town.
What's going on here?
This is just like the federal government.
Oh,
look at
God.
all the jokers they have in their
Don't even get me going there.
secretaries.
Please don't get me going.
So that's one position that should not be hired by him, because that is a position that's going to stay, and he's going to be gone. So the new town manager should have that position. The director of electrical operations is another position
Another one.
that he's talking about hiring.
I think he's trying to make us go broke.
He's loading up the electric
Yes.
company because that's where the money is. Now, the money is in municipal. I've been involved with the municipal light board for the last 30 years, but recently that board has over $25 million
know.
sitting in the bank, and it's all our money as ratepayers for our electric utilities.
Now, our electric light board is different than Peabody. Peabody elects their officials.
right.
And but why is Danvers different?
Because it's been established like that back in 1949.
Okay.
And the thing is, the town charter may have an opportunity to change that,
Okay.
because right now it's being run by the town manager and his appointed municipal light board, which really has no teeth, but they are his puppets, and he asks them to vote the way he wants to vote.
See, another problem too. We run into a lot of different problems here. Because if I remember correctly, even when Wayne was on board, Wayne used to get raises all the time, and the raises was to take care of all these different departments, which was a big thing. But at the one time, we had the hospital. Then we got rid of the hospital.
Right.
But the pay didn't get cut.
Well, there's been discussion about eliminating the municipal light company, because that's something that is being manipulated by the town manager and his role of cash flows.
Okay.
That company, the municipal light company, generates $40 million.
Right.
It goes through $40 million, which is 1/4 of the town budget. And the thing is, nobody really knows what the heck is going on.
Well, we know. I mean, because I don't know. To me, so some things like when they sold the land for Middleton, remember that? And it should have came back to the ratepayers that didn't. You
Yep.
remember that?
I know that.
I mean, I don't know certain things. I mean, it seems like we're always being asked to pay more.
But there's nobody at the town hall or the municipal light board meetings that raises these questions.
Well, that I have to agree with you because I've seen some of them. Especially, I think I've seen you there more than
Oh, yeah.
if I turn them on. That's about it. You know.
Okay. Town management resignations, we've talked about that. Town
Yes.
management resignations or retirements, we've talked about that. The one question I have of every single one of those positions that rolled over, and now we have a whole new crop of positions that are either retiring, resigning, or getting fired, and I don't think anybody ever get fired, but there's never an exit interview for those individuals. Why are they leaving? And the thing is that our HR department, which is run by the town manager's office or the assistant town manager's office, never asked the question, why are you leaving?
They might know the answers. They just don't want to tell us.
Well-
And they use the excuse that they can't tell us because it's, you know what I'm saying? It's confidential. You know what I mean? That's how they get around things today. Everything's confidential.
But being confidential doesn't alleviate them of responsibility
Well,
for those
that's the
people.
problem. But they use that to get around it.
Now, the DPW manager resignation and departure, there's no exit interview, and he's a very high-level position. Retired prior to changes, filed on bribery charges. Solar panel park.
Is there going to be charges?
No. Basically the town manager let him retire.
Otherwise,
And-
could the town manager have looked into it to see if there was?
Well, they don't want to disclose any of it.
Okay, here we go again. See,
So,
that's the problem. That's the problem.
and the thing is, by not disclosing it, it puts a veil of
Well,
suspicion.
Exactly, and that's not a good feeling.
So, the last item on this article, and we'll just go through this, and we'll go through the other items next show. The position of town engineer was reported in the newspaper that has to be replaced.
Really?
I talked to Steve King. He says, I'm not resigning. I haven't resigned. So it's a misprint by the reporter. And somehow I don't believe it, and now I'm confirmed that I don't believe it. And I need to continue speaking with Steve King because he has been a very good engineer for the town, and he's filled big shoes.
Yes,
as
he did.
well.
He come under Mr. Rogers, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Mr. Rogers was ahead of him. He's the
Yep.
one that brought him along, and he
he's-
took over.
You know what? That he still comes around every so often.
I've run into him a couple of times over. His grandson was playing hockey over in Beverly at the rink in
Yep.
Beverly. I did see him there a couple of times.
All right. So we've gone through the Salem Snooze article. You remember Snooze?
Well, there's no question in my mind. That paper's gone.
And
I used to deliver it as a kid. I'm telling you. I had a paper route.
And what I have here, I think, another 8 minutes. So I just want to introduce the continuation of the 4 meetings to date have been conducted on the Town Charter Review.
Okay.
And the Town Charter Review is proceeding. What they're doing is they're learning of what does our government consist of, because I don't think anyone on that committee is well versed in what the government is like. Some of them understand the financial side because of Finance Committee Association, but now they have gone out and asked the former elected officials, and they should extend that to the school committee as well, but they have gone out to the Board of Selectmen and their actions. And you know what we found is that we have selectmen back from the 90s, or even before, the 80s. John Webb.
Okay.
John Webb was a selectman in this town.
Yeah, I do remember that name.
Ken Hersey was
Okay.
a selectman. There's a whole list that was provided to the committee, and I have provided my comments because I was requested to do that.
I did.
but-
I know we had a meeting yesterday, and I did catch it today on Keith Lucy was there speaking. I know that.
Good. Well, we need to do
And
that.
they sound a little better today. To me, I was a little more impressed today the way they were doing, but there wasn't much people there at the meeting this time. I think it was more virtual than anything
Right.
else.
We need to continue watching this. Meeting was held on October 2nd. That's my note. And the last item that I have, I don't know how much time we have. 5 minutes, 4 minutes. Okay. The most significant issue, in my estimation, of our town is the proposed expansion and growth at the Beverly Jetport
No question in my mind.
within the Danvers area, because
Yes.
it is on the west side of the airport. Danvers management failed our residents. Danvers residents must organize and defeat the current plans
We have to.
for hangars and runway expansions. This is the first step in growth, which is a direct impact to our quality of life. Must stop the lies perpetrated by the entire airport commission in the master plan.
This has been a nightmare. Even like, look at this. We should have never got here. We should have nailed it. We should have got this at the last time. I can't believe it, really. We have to really stay with this, okay? Because it took us 15 years, okay, to get them to finally do what they're supposed to be doing on paper, which is a lot better, but it's not perfect yet, okay? And now we got jets coming in, making all kinds of noises, shaking houses. Can't be. This town is crazy.
The problem is that we are not considering all of the environmental issues that are being pushed on us.
Exactly. Here we go. We got the health department looking into Sandy Beach, the corrosion there. These jets are poisoning us, for Christ's sakes. Get the health department out there to look and see this leaded fuel is coming down on us. Especially with the kids in the playgrounds and all that stuff they fly over. It's ridiculous.
So what I put together is a presentation, and we'll get into that. But I think what we need, Owen, if you can throw up the last clip, coming soon, Beverly to Nantucket
There you go. There it
Airport.
is right there. They're going
Coming soon. Coming soon. It is already
It's happening
here.
already. They already go there. I hear on the radio all the time. They're going
And
there.
the environmental issues are serious enough that I have filed, and other people have filed.
And you know one good thing? They don't do touch and goes in Nantucket.
That's right. FOIA requests, Freedom of Information requests in regards to what's going on with this project. This project is having an environmental issue that is being hoisted on us, and it's not just leaded fuel. It's leaded fuel has consistently been used at Beverly Airport. Leaded fuel causes disease of cancer to the most vulnerable of our communities. No imminent solution proposed. Leaded fuel is harbinger of human suffering. Expansion of runways, increase in noise and increased pollution. Other contaminants, PFAS, and jet exhaust fumes are cumulative. Noise pollution is excessive now and in the future. Quality of life and longevity are impacted by the noise and contamination. Safety of our schools and homes is at stake.
And the PFAS on the property. And
Yep.
also, I told you about this before. I saw it in the patch. Okay, they got almost $400 and something thousand to do a study. Okay, on the runways, on the impact of the runways. But we haven't heard anything about it. I called and asked about it. And no, we haven't heard anything yet. We don't know where that money's going. We got to figure out what's happened. They were supposed to get it to do a big thing. I don't know what's happening.
Well, this is the trickle down FAA funding in the grants. There is a grant that I received, a copy of it, and it is related to the runway expansions, and I believe, and I'm going to get into it,
Uh-huh.
is funding for the hangars. I hope that the federal government is not the one that are funding this hangar, because that hangar that we talked about
Yes.
is 135 feet wide, 300 feet long, and 45 feet high, and is going to contain at least 10 air jets. But it is right now, as far as I know as of today, the building permit has not been issued or requested.
Should be stopped.
And it should be stopped. But the cost of this hangar, which is the first step in expansion, is in the $7 to $10 million, funds. Who is paying for it? And if it's us, the taxpayers, then we should take them all to court.
Yes. We should, because I'm telling you, it's been a joke. They get over there whatever they want. This town has let them do whatever they want. It's ridiculous, okay? This town has to grow a backbone and finally put a stop to it.
All right, Tony, I appreciate you being
No, thank
with
you.
me, and what I want to do is give you an opportunity to talk to our turkeys that have been appearing on our table, and Thanksgiving is coming, so we're going to have to
before you
we're
know
going
it.
to have to cut one of them.
Yeah.
But I wish that we get some clarity on what's going on with the town manager and what the Board of Selectmen are going to do in the meantime, because what I understand is the town manager is leaving
25th, I believe. I don't know if it's
25th of
changed or not.
October,
That's how it's
which
supposed
is
to be.
2 weeks away.
Yeah.
So, what have you got to say? I mean, what's your most important issue right now?
Right now, thank you for helping me out with the airport. All that you've done, you've helped me out quite a bit, and I really appreciate it. And we've made some progress as far as I'm concerned. We just got a long way more to go.
The one thing that I would like to suggest is our audience and our mailing distributions that we do, we need to have an organization that is basically named Eliminate Beverly Airport, or Stop Beverly Airport
Okay,
from
I see what you mean. Yeah,
Expansion.
we should.
And we need 50 to 100 people, because I have presented a show from Hanscom, from their organization, and they had 210 people on a Zoom meeting. And those are some of the suggestions that we should follow. And what we need to do is maybe you and I can look at that presentation, because I sat through it,
Okay.
and take some notes
And learn from it.
and learn from it to expand our domain.
Exactly.
So we also should call on the Board of Selectmen to consider what are our issues and how is Danvers being affected in regard to pollution, and Dan Bennett is a great proponent for pollution.
Exactly.
He's a green thumb guy. So we are ready to organize again, but I think what we need to do is get these people into one room and talk about things.
I agree with that 100%.
So thank you very much for your participation, and thank you very much for viewing this show. And we will be back on October 17th.
Okay.
And what I've invited a special guest on
Okay.
that show, but we will be talking more and more about the government of Danvers, but focusing in on the schools. Now, as you have heard me in the past, schools in this state and in this country are not Danvers schools. They are state-run schools, and all they want from us is money to fund their operation. We, our school committee, has very little or no impact on how our students are being taught.
We got to
in
get back
school.
to let the teachers teach. They love the kids. Let them do what they're supposed to do, not mandate them.
So, thank you very much, and good night, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and we'll see you on October 17th with a new format for this program. Thank you.